Yo, what's up guys? This is James bringing you another deck profile here for the Menards Club, youtube.com. Today I'm going to be going over my updated Super 17 deck profile. This is going to be a bit more of a casual oriented deck. It's not a lot less competitively focused. That's not to say the deck is bad by any means. It's just a little less competitive than some of the other yellow options. But if you're looking for a fun, cheap deck that uses androids like I love, and I will play every android deck under the sun, then this is definitely a fun one to check out. I also think it's pretty cheap to pick up, so if you just wanted to mess around with a new deck while you're waiting for the new format or whatever, this is just a fun one to mess around with. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new as well. It really helps us out to bring you more Dragon Ball Super content. And without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So, Super 17 is a pretty unique leader. He needs androids in your hand to draw cards, which isn't super unique among the android leaders. But you need to have a solid amount of androids in your deck in order to, critical mass is really the phrase that I'm looking for there. You need a critical mass of androids in your deck in order to fire his ability and a lot of your other abilities in the deck consistently, so we're going to be playing a lot of them. He can alternate Awaken if you have a 2-cost Unison in play. You take life down to 6, then you untap 1, draw 1. On the back is where it starts to get pretty wild. So when he attacks, you draw 1, and then you get plus 2k power for each battle card under cards in your battle area. This is a stack 'em, rack 'em, stack 'em, Pringles deck. You're going to be putting a lot of cards under your battle cards, both by Union Absorb effects and by eating your opponent's cards. So this guy's going to get pretty large. He generally gets up to about 25 to 30k toward the end of the game, and then you can start putting double strike and stuff onto him and just really threatening them with the giant fist, So you got an activate main once per turn. You can choose one card, one of your Super 17s in play, and put a Hellfighter or Android 17 from your drop area under it. So that's one way to stock up your guys. Then he also has an incredibly strong activate battle once per turn Spirit Boost 1. You choose a Super 17 card in your battle area, place 3 cards under it in your drop area. And then you choose one each of your opponent's battle cards and Unison cards and switch them to rest mode. That's activate battle, not activate main. So that means you can activate it on both players' turns. So that you can start stalling your opponent out pretty good with all of the rest moding that'll start going on in the deck. And it has some other incidental synergies with other strong yellow cards as well. All right, let's get into the deck. We've got the main attraction here, the Union Absorb line for Android 17 conceding to Union, for Hellfighter 17 conceding to Union. They both do approximately the same thing. This guy's got blocker, this guy's got barrier, so this guy's slightly better. But they both have the same Union Absorb. Once per turn, you choose this guy chooses an Android 17, this guy chooses a Hellfighter 17. In your drop area or hand, put it under them. Then you go into the next stage, which will be the shoot, I didn't pull that out yet. Here we go. Super 17 prepping for Union. You can go into this guy from your deck or your drop area, which is very helpful that it comes from drop area too. And then we'll get to this guy in just a minute. And then Bob's your uncle. That's all you need to do. It's just incredibly good. 1 energy, start going up the chain into a barrier guy. To complement these guys, we've got 4 of the Android 17 Hell's Guidance promo. This card's awesome. It's a blocker. You can play it for 1, for limit 1 for 0 by rest moding an Android you have in play. Not really the most relevant part. It does come up sometimes, but the most relevant part is its activate main. Its second activate main, limit 1. Choose 1 Super 17 card in your battle area. Place this card under the chosen card from your drop area. So that means between this and your leader, you can start putting 2 cards under 1 Super 17 per turn, which fulfills 66% of the requirement for the Spirit Boost effect, which means you start getting to do that a lot more frequently. And then we have 4 Hellfighter 17 Mechanical Charity. This guy's a tutor for your Unison or for an Android. You don't really want to hard cast this. You will if you're desperate and you got nothing else to play on turn 1. You'd rather play one of these. He's just here for targets for this guy for the most part, but you can play him in a pinch. Going up the chain. Brought you that teaser earlier, but here he is for real. Super 17, prepping for Union. He just wants a hug. Look at him. This guy's a barrier. When he comes into play using Union, you draw 1, so that turns your 1-drop into a 1-drop cantrip. Extremely good. And he also has an activate main, limit 1. You can discard him and another Android from your hand, dig up to 7 cards from your deck, add up to 2 Androids with energy cost 5 or less from among them to your hand. So this gives you a lot of consistency. It also gives you a way to get Androids into your drop area for your Union effects. Very, very strong. Then this guy evolves into Super 17 Hellish Amalgamation. So this guy you just have to hard draw or tutor him out of the deck with this or your 1-drop. This guy's a deflect dual attack. EX evolves for 1. If your leader's a Super 17 card, you evolve him on top of this. He's got an auto when he's played. You choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards. Energy costs 4 or less in rest mode. Place it under him, and then you draw 1. So at the very worst, he replaces himself. And then also can potentially eat an opponent's card as long as we were able to put it in rest mode beforehand, which we have a lot of ways to do that in this deck. So, you know, it's pretty easy to set up. The roughest part is that it only works on cost 4 or less, and they have to be in rest mode, but it is what it is. It also has a little bit of built-in protection, but it's really only relevant against green for the most part, where if it's KO'd by an opponent's skill, not by battle, and not removed by a skill, it has to be specifically KO'd, then you can go back and it floats into this guy from the drop area. But he won't end up with any materials under him. So it's a little bit of a risk to go into this guy, but he's still a solid dual attack beater that can trip, so pretty solid. I'm not playing the boss Super 17 in the deck just because he's too inconsistent. And he's just not the best boss monster, honestly. We could really use a new one, but I digress. All right, the Unison, rather, playing too much Yu-Gi-Oh! With Unison is the one built for the archetype Android 20 and Dr. Mew Hellish Accomplices. This guy's got an auto once per turn. When you activate Union or Evolve, you add a marker to it, so that helps you get those markers juiced up really good, because you'll be activating Union or Evolve at least once per turn, generally speaking, as long as all's going according to plan. They also have an incredible auto once per turn. If it's your turn, it's very important that it only works on your turn. When you remove a marker from them using Spirit Boost, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring Barrier, and KO it. This is just incredibly good because you can pair it with the leader's ability to Spirit Boost, activate battle, rest mode an opponent's thing, and then you can choose any one of their things in rest mode, ignoring Barrier, and KO it. So as long as your opponent got that Barrier thing in rest mode first, you can get rid of it. This gets rid of the annoying things like the Slug Super Namekian, super duper easy. It also upticks to draw 1, discard 1. Solid. It would be better if it just kind of kept it in your hand, but you know, it is what it is. Sets up your drop area synergies at the very least, and then it has a -2. Add up to 1 mono yellow battle card. Energy costs 5 or less, and the evolve skill from your drop area to your hand. That only picks up this guy. That's it. But yeah, it's. I wish it could pick up the 8-drop, but it can't. I don't really know why it can't, but it is what it is. That's our only Unison in the deck, and it's a really good Unison. This deck has a lot of issues, but the Unison is definitely not one of them. It's got a very, very good Unison. The boss monster of the deck is unfortunately just a generic Saiyan. It is Son Goku, Return of the Dragon Fist. After many testing sessions with this deck, I finally decided to give up the ghost. I went from 3 to 2 to 1 to 0 on the 8-drop Super 17, and I've just put this guy in instead. He's a lot more consistent and generally a lot more powerful. Your Unison's going to end up with a good chunk of markers on it by the time it gets back to turn 4, and then you can just kill him with this guy after putting a lot of pressure on them with the smaller robots. You know, it is what it is. It's a very good card. It's not an android, so it's a little disappointing. Rounding out the battle cards, we've got 2 Swift Retaliation Cooler. Gotta force this guy through. It's also really nice to force your leader through, because your leader gets huge, and then you can give him double strike with a Awakened Attack, which I'll get to later. So 2 Swift Retaliation Coolers, make sure you see them. 2 Poutine the Dark Sorcerer. I'd honestly really like to put a 3rd one in here, but I don't really know what to cut. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comment section. Because the leader can set it up as early as turn 2 for free. Like, you don't even have to have a card to pair with it, and this card's awesome. So this is like one of the biggest things the deck has going for it, is it just sets this card up for free. So yeah, I would like to kind of fit a 3rd one in. It's just really hard to justify since it's a black card and everything, but you know, it's still really, really, really good. The 1 Bergamo we're allowed to play, and then the secret rare of choice is, of course, Super 17 Sibling Absorbed. Pan or Supreme Kai of Time would probably be a little more competitive, but, you know, this is my fun Android deck. I'm playing my fun Android secret rare. I really like this card. This isn't a bad secret rare. This would be a little bit more competitive with one of those black ones, but I digress. Super combos, we've got 2 Android 17 Mechanical Charity. This is tutorable and a Union Absorb target, and then 2 Zamasu because Zamasu is really, really good. The deck does rest a lot, but it can never rest leaders, and sometimes resting leaders is really, really good, and this can also help set up Poutine if you're struggling to get your Spirit Boost set up. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to keep a dude in play long enough to make that relevant. Rounding out the deck, we've got our Interactive Suite for Prideful Transformation. I messed around with the Robotic Riposte and the Goku package in here, and it was okay. It was really hard to fit in just because you have to have so many freaking androids in your deck for it to be consistent. But when they limited Power of a Super Saiyan, it made it really hard to keep that engine consistent enough in this leader with 0 energy manipulation. So I just went back to this. This has been solid. You really want to have your Unison out on turn 2 every game anyway, and then this helps you interact with them for free. You can then just use your energy to progress your board, and then use this to put their stuff in rest mode and then eat it later. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with Vegeta. He doesn't say draw a card, so not the best, but not the worst. Speak of the Devil, 1 Power of a Super Saiyan. That's all we're allowed to have. Big nerf to this deck, unfortunately, because, we really wanted stuff in rest mode. 2 Awakened Attack. This is like a super Champa for the archetype because you can play it for free. Really, really good. Gives plus 2k to a battle card or your leader for every card under your cards in play. And then if you have 3 or more under one of your cards, you can detach one from them to play this for free. Super solid. And then rounding out the deck, 2 Flying Nimbus. Like I said, no room for a Robotic Riposte package in this deck, so we just got the Nimbus to help protect ourselves. If you're playing in a more aggressive meta, probably run a couple extra of these. But otherwise, that's just the deck list, guys. Really simple, really straightforward, a lot of 4-ofs. It's just a fun little Android control deck that you can use to annoy your friends, rest mode all their stuff on both players' turns, and just kind of keep them from having too much fun until you draw Dragon Fist Goku on them. So yeah, thanks for checking out the deck profile, guys. Make sure to hit us up in the comment section if you got any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.